Hello and welcome back to Dreamwalker Tarot. My name is Dawn, and this is the March reading for Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and Mercury. Please go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell for post notifications. So this month I am doing a Celtic Cross reading, and the first card that came out for you guys, Cancer, is the Five of Swords. And the Five of Swords is an indication that you're in like the space where you're having like a disagreement, a falling out, an argument with someone, and you're really in the space of feeling a little bit defeated due to that. When we see the Five of Swords, is an indication that sometimes, like when you have an argument with someone that you care about, and even if you win the argument, or if you made it a point to win the argument, but then it's like you're walking away from the situation feeling like you really didn't win at all, right? It's like a lose-lose type of situation. So it's like the fight itself has cost you something. You might have lost a little bit of disrespect. You might have lost a little bit of respect for this person in the argument. You might have feel like you kind of like you played, or you showed like a bad aspect of yourself to someone, and now you feel a little isolated because you might not even be talking to this person anymore. And so when we see the Five of Swords, it's like an indication to like pick your arguments with people, because you can't fight about everything, right? And sometimes at the time the fight might seem like it's worth it, but sometimes it ends up that it's not. So particular in relationships with people that we care about, or that we don't necessarily want to say things out of turn, or say something that we don't really mean, because it's going to end up costing us in the long run. The Five of Swords is an indication of that, right? And what's crossing the Five of Swords is the Six of Cups. So the Six of Cups, in conjunction with the Five of Swords, means that, again, this is an argument or a battle or a fight or disagreement with someone that you've potentially known for a long time. This is someone that is probably in your family, is a family member. It could be like a person that you're married to, that you've been married to for a long time, or you just known them since you were a child. And so this argument is really making you feel some kind of way due to the nature of the relationship itself and how much you love and care about the relationship. And I actually want to pull some clarifiers for the Five of Swords. So I'm using the Lenormand Oracle deck for clarifications this month, and the cards that came out as a clarification for the Five of Swords is the Stork, the Garden, and the Tower. And so the nature of this particular disagreement could have been a very public one. It could have happened online, or it could have just been a disagreement or an issue that happened out in public, right? With the Garden here, it means a public or society. It's like being outside. So this is a dispute that could have happened outside. It could have happened in front of other people. And I feel like you're walking away from that. There's a little bit of like feeling embarrassed or feeling a little bit of shame because of the discrepancy that happened outside. But what's interesting about it is the Stork card is also a card that is talking about like change and patterns and cycles and things like that. So I think the issue here for you is that this is not necessarily something that is new. I feel like you guys have these arguments all the time. I think it happens to be because of the nature of the disagreement, because it is so public, that it's a little bit embarrassing to you. And I feel like the discrepancy itself is making you change the way you look, or transform the way you look at a person, or changing the way you look at the situation. The Tower card here is a card of isolation. So again, like before, it seems like there's a little bit of distance between you and this person, and you are feeling a little bit lonely because of it, because that is also a change from the way that you're used to dealing with them, or the way that you're used to handling them. That is kind of change, and it's really having an impact on you right now. Like I said, this is a person with Six of Cups coming up that you might have known for a long time. They might be a huge part of your life. You might have a child with them. You might have known them since childhood. This, for some of you, this could even be your child. And so like this argument is really kind of like really having you feeling a little bit bummed out because you might have felt disrespected by them, and you might have felt a way about the way that they handled it, if they handled it in a public way, but also this is something that seems to happen a lot, like with the Stork card is also a representation of cycles. So this seems to be something that happens on a regular basis, but I feel like this particular time it might have gone a little bit too far, right? In the past, the card that is coming up is the Ace of Cups. And so this is like a loss. Like I said before, there is a type of an emotional type of attachment to this particular person. And so there is a feeling of loss. I feel like this Ace of Cups is like a recent past. So this would indicate like this discrepancy that you are just coming out of, being the past of the situation, is there is a sense of a loss, right? Like I said, you do have emotion and you do have feeling for this person. And so ultimately this is a loss. The Ace of Cups, in terms of like, if this is like a relationship type thing or, trying to step into something due to a relationship, you kind of feel like there's a bunch of delays attached to this relationship kind of shaping due to the fact that you guys keep having an argument. And this could be an argument that is like a reoccurring thing again. And so it's like really feeling like there's delays in terms of like moving forward with the relationship, which is, like I said, this is the past of what you're currently going through. Some of you may be trying to kind of like repress the way that you feel because you are so hurt by this situation. And that could be the reason why the Ace of Cups is showing up. There's also the sense that like your intuition about the situation might have caused you to get into this discrepancy. So you might have felt something about what this person was doing. Again, it could be a cycle. So it's something that they keep doing that kind of like triggered you and set you off. And so there's an indication here that your intuition is really trying to speak to you about something, but I feel like you might be kind of like blocking your intuitive nudges or whatever it is that you're feeling or sensing, and so that is an indication that you need to kind of get in tune with your intuition and what your intuition is saying to you. The clarification cards that came out for the Ace of Cups in the reverse is the Clover card and the Snake card, which, I mean, I don't know, this seems so crazy because it doesn't really make sense to me, but I'm just going to tell you and explain to you what that is saying. It's saying that you're kind of like taking this a little bit of like lightheartedness, almost with the Clover card. The Clover card is like an indication of like lightheartedness and luck, of being happy, and then it's an opportunity, or just not feeling really troubled about it, which is like crazy because the Five of Swords is indicating that that's not how you're feeling right now. And so what this could mean is that when the situation first happened, I feel like you didn't take it seriously. You were kind of like, just kind of like brushing it off or laughing it off, like whatever, that person's lucky, like whatever the case may be. And I feel like this might have gone a little bit longer than you thought it was going to go. And so that is kind of, a part of the issue for you right now, because I think that you didn't think that it would go as far as it has, right? And so the question here is, are you taking this thing seriously, and why are you not taking it seriously, or why were you not taking it seriously? The other part of this is like the Snake card, which also is coming out. And so the Snake card, usually it's linked to some sort of like deception or being calculating, almost a little bit manipulative, right? And so it kind of feels like, I don't know if this is you or if this is the person that you were dealing with, that this dispute is a little bit calculated, to to take advantage of another opportunity that you felt like you needed to take advantage at that time. That's kind of like what I'm getting. So it could be a thing where you might have started the discrepancy due to the fact that there was something else that you did it for a reason. Like, like when a person's in a relationship with somebody, they start a fight with them because they want to like go off and do something else, or they want to use it as a reason to go off and do something else. And I feel like that's what might have been at the core of the discrepancy. And so you kind of weren't taking it that seriously. This is like a risk, a calculated risk on your part. And so when it happened, you figured it would be okay because this is something that you have done in the past and it might have worked. But now it seems like the person that you did that to is really not kind of having it. And so this could be you, doing this, or this could be someone else that's, that you said, involved with the discrepancy. So just kind of be mindful of where you kind of like fall in this storyline. And so that's what I'm getting. Like I said, those two cards together are kind of crazy. But that's what is happening in terms of like the past of this particular discrepancy, or the past of you being in like your Five of Swords energy right now. On the conscious level, the card that came out is the Justice card. So some of you could have been dealing with a Libra, right? But if this is a situation where this was a calculated risk on your part, and now it's not necessarily working out the way that you thought it was going to work out, this is ultimately justice for what it is that you've done, or this calculated risk that you tried to take, it didn't work out. And so now this is the reason why you're in that space that you're in. So it could just be what you deserve, right? So if this is you and you did this is what you deserve because you tried it and it didn't work. And so now you have to deal with the consequences and the repercussions of that, right? But if it's someone outside of you, then yeah, that's what's happened. And so at the end of the day, you can't be mad because this argument or whatever. Like I said, on an intuitive level, I feel like you might have already known this. Yeah, it's being done intentionally and it didn't work out. And ultimately there is a little bit of a justice that's happening here. There's a little bit of balancing of the scales because someone is obviously in the space of taking advantage. And so I think like spirit is kind of like, okay, this is just too much. Or like I said, if you're doing this or someone's doing it to you, then it's really not fair to do that to someone. And so on a conscious level, I feel like this is like a justice type of situation where it's like balancing itself out, and the scales are balancing itself out. And for some of you, this is going to be a shift in the dynamic of the relationship because if you love and care about someone, then you shouldn't take them so lightly, right? You shouldn't feel like you can do certain things and get away with it, or somebody should not feel that they should be able to do that with you because they know that you love and care about them. On a subconscious level, the card that is coming out is the Queen of Wands. And so the Queen of Wands is usually a really upbeat, outgoing, social type butterfly energy. But right now it's like you're not really in that space, right? This is like you're being introverted. You're kind of like, staying to yourself. You're kind of, becoming like the wallflower and just kind of like falling back, right? So this is really an indication of like really spending time alone, and that's okay because I kind of feel like on a subconscious level, again, there is the need for you to kind of like fall back and connect with your inner self, reconnect with your intuition, because I feel like you're like kind of like misjudging your intuition right now, and really just to kind of like refocus and recenter yourself so that you can hear yourself. I feel like you're taking a hit because of this. I feel like it's affecting your level of confidence. And so this is really a time to kind of like rebuild your own sense of self, right? And really kind of focus more on being the best person, or kind of like doing the things that kind of like push you to the space of being the best person that you could possibly be, but also reevaluating the nature of your relationships and the people that you want to be in your life and the people that you want to be around you, to really kind of like tap into kind of rebuilding yourself as an individual, your own talents, your own personal strength. There has to be like some sort of inward focus happening here with the Queen of Wands in order to kind of like build up your your confidence, particularly when it comes to your intuition. The clarification for the Queen of Wands is the cross, the house, and the anchor card. And so this idea of this particular situation being related to someone in your family is also showing up again here with the house card, because the house card in conjunction with the cross card is an indication that there's a little bit of a burden attached to this dynamic. And because it's like a family member, it's like the family member and this dynamic, you kind of feel like tied to it because they are a family member, but it's like it's causing you a little bit of grief, like it's causing you to suffer as a result of it. And so you might feel like your family is becoming a little bit burdensome, or you're suffering within this like family dynamic. And so for some of you, you're holding on to it because it's a stable thing. Like, it's like keep holding on to something that has been around for forever, or that you feel provides you stability. And so you don't necessarily want to let that go. But as a result, there is a sense of suffering attached to that. And so that is something that you want to be mindful of on a subconscious level. With the anchor card here, it's really talking about looking at the reasons why family is so ingrained in you to be important. Not saying that family is not important, because family is very important. But are there, how do I say this? Are there types of like indoctrinations or like things that you've been told as you were a child about how you should handle your family, about the way you should be with them, because I feel like that is kind of playing out. It's like you have to kind of reconstruct or reconfigure your ideologies towards family and what it is that you'll accept from family as opposed to what you won't accept from family, because I feel like that's kind of playing out. Like if your family is being deceptive towards you, or purposely like picking fights with you, or purposely picking arguments with you to manipulate the situation or to manipulate the dynamics to get their own to get what they want out of the equation, and it's causing you to suffer, or this is something that you're doing to someone in your family, like these are things that you need to be thinking about, because on a subconscious level, I feel like there's some sort of ingrained thought process built into this situation that has to deal with the dynamics of your family and what you feel like you should be doing for them, or what you should accept from them, or what you should let them get away with, or what you can do to a family member because they are your family member. So those are just some of the things that are coming up. And so you should kind of take a look at that. But also there is a sense that if you are the person that's in a situation like this with your family, like I said, that whatever's happening is not necessarily right. And so you might have made a conscious decision, or you're making a conscious decision to kind of like fall back from everyone, but it is putting you in a sense of feeling lonely, because these are the people that you love and care about, and they're around. But intuitively, there has to be a sense or a space for you to be able to acknowledge that some things are not right, and be able to make decisions about what it is that you want to keep, or who it is that you want to keep in your life, or who it is that you want to let go. Not simply because they're family, but because what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong, right? And so, again, this is something just to think about this month, and we're just going to move on. So in the near future, the card that is coming out is, interestingly enough, the High Priestess in reverse. And so this is an indication here that, again, this is like a withdrawal type of energy, just kind of like falling back, keeping to yourself. This is also an indication of secrets being kept, or silence, right? Not speaking. But this is also kind of like feeding into intuition. High Priestess is a card of intuition, of really being able to kind of like tap into like the secret nether realm, and really be able to intuit information based on the things that you see, the things that you feel within that realm, that space. This card could also indicate that there's a Pisces person kind of like involved in this equation, they got Pisces in their chart. But yeah, this is a card of really kind of like falling back, and also a card of disconnection or not being connected to your intuition. And I feel like that keeps coming up in terms of like feeling like you're not really paying attention or listening to your intuition when it comes to certain things, probably because you want to explain away the things your people are doing due to the fact that they are family members, right? And so that is playing a factor. I want to pull clarification cards for this as well. The clarification cards that came out for the High Priestess is the Heart card and the Stork again. And so this is indicating that there's going to be like a change, right, in the way that you handle these situation, but it's going to be a change based on love, based on compassion. I feel like this is also like a sense of reconciliation. And this card, like I said, is a card that is coming out for the near future. So you might decide that you want to kind of like reach out, because at the end of the day, this is something, like I said, it's a fight. You feel like it's a fight, and you feel like even though you won, you lost, right? And so coming from a sense and a space of compassion, I feel like you're going to be reaching out, or this person is going to be reaching out to you, because at the end of the day, they do love and they do care about you. There is some affection here. And so there's a sense of like compassion in this situation, depending on like where you fall in terms of like reconciling the situation, because there is love, but ultimately there is going to be the opportunity to kind of like transform the nature of the relationship, so that you're not going through the same things, or you're not entering into another cycle all over again. And so I feel like there might be a shift, but this is coming because, like I said, there is like a period of withdrawal, and really getting in tune with like your intuition and really seeing things for what they are. And again, like I said, just really deciding who it is that you do need in your life and who don't you need in your life. Because like I said, at the end of the day, there is affection here for this person. Your current action, though, is the Hangman. So it really means that you're not reconciling right away, but you are just kind of like maybe waiting for the right opportunity or the right moment to kind of like initiate this conversation. But also, if this is not you, then that person is kind of, having that same type of energy. I feel like there is like a sense of a divine timing happening here, where it's the opportunity to have this discussion that will allow you to move forward in like a positive direction is going to be presenting itself. And so right now you're not doing anything, or right now this other person's not doing anything, but the time is going to come where you guys are going to be potentially in the same space together that would allow that to be like a face-to-face conversation. And so that's kind of like what your current action is in action right now. You're kind of like waiting for the right time or the right opportunity, or that person is waiting for the right time and the right opportunity. The outside influences that are affecting the situation is being represented here by the Seven of Wands in reverse. A lot of there's like a sense of really like defensive, competitive type energy. And for some of you, a lot of this is also stemming from the fact that there's like a little bit of competition or a comparison with this person, right? The Seven of Wands in the traditional Rider Waite is like really like defensive type of energy, feeling like you're caught off guard by someone, or kind of like, again, if this was like something that happened out in public, or if that could be potentially why this is here, because a lot of this has to do with a little bit of ego attached to the underlying reason why this has probably gone as far as it's gone. But at the same time, again, if I feel like if it's not you, then this person that's kind of like overstepping their boundaries, you don't necessarily want to back away from the way that you feel, especially if you feel like you're correct about it. I think sometimes you have to pick your battles, but I do feel like you need to make your boundaries clear, and you do need to let it be known what it is that you do and don't like, and what it is that you will and will not accept, right? And not kind of like brush things off kind of making light of certain things, serious matters that should be really talked about and discussed, brushing them off, because I feel like eventually they do kind of come back. And I feel like that is a part of the issue that you're having here. If this is not a relationship, I feel like there's some like delay type energy in terms of like if you're trying to do move forward in terms of like a project or something like that, you might experience a little bit of a delay. That's not for all of you. That is for some of you. But there is a need here to establish clear boundaries with people, especially the people that you love, so they don't take advantage. You do want to still fight for what you believe in, but pick your battles before you explode some stuff. Like, don't just explode. Try to work it out. But yes, there's a need here for clear boundaries. So when they come back and they want to reconcile, if you feel like you miss them and you want to reconcile, then do so, but make sure that moving forward, there is really clear boundaries, about what it is that you expect from this relationship moving forward. In the position of hopes and fears is the Tower card. So two things. I feel like some of you are fearful of something unexpected happening, like that'll kind of close the door on the opportunity to have this reconciliation. I feel like, sometimes we do things to people and then it's like other things happen and you don't realize it and then it becomes too late. And now it's like you're really in a space of regretting. So you are fearful of the Tower happening in this particular situation. But at the same time, the Tower card is a shakeup, right? And it's the ability and the opportunity to kind of rebuild something on a positive note. People are really fearful of the Tower card because it means that things are removed out of your life, and there's like a general disruption in your life. And so sometimes it's good, but sometimes it's bad. And even when it's bad, I feel like it still has the potential to be good, because ultimately it will give you the opportunity to rebuild the dynamic or rebuild something on a positive and on a strong foundation. And I feel like that is necessary. Boundaries and foundation are very important for you guys this month. And so either way, whether it's a Tower moment happens or not, there is the opportunity to rebuild. And if you are fearful of a Tower moment, then that means that you need to kind of like take things and get them in hand now. If you are fearful of a Tower moment happening to kind of like damage the total outcome of this relationship, then you need to kind of like take it into hand and be the one to say what needs to be said or take that step or that initiation forward. The clarification card, because I really wanted to get a clarification on the Tower card. And again, the Clover is coming up, the Whip, and the Ring. And so I kind of do feel like, sometimes things are said out of pure anger. And so I feel like that is also kind of like factoring in the situation. Things that are said in pure anger. And so for some of you, this discrepancy could potentially be happening again. That's only for some of you. But also I think the fear is going through another situation with this person where you again get into another discrepancy or another argument, and then it's like saying things to someone that's kind of like painful, or making a promise to someone that's painful, and now, or someone's made a promise to you and hasn't kept it, and so it's resulting in a little bit of pain for you. But there's a little bit of violence attached to these cards with the Tower card. And so if that is a hope or a fear for you, I'm concerned that some of you might be in a situation with someone that, you're afraid of that type of thing happening, right? So that's also a reason why you might be hesitant to speak, because sometimes this person can have like a really short temper or flare up. And so I feel like there's a little bit of hesitancy with you speaking to them about how you really feel, because you are afraid of their temper or afraid of what they're going to say to you, right? The final outcome here, though, is the Two of Cups. And so ultimately, like I said, there is affection attached to this dynamic, right? You love them and they love you. And so this is the opportunity for you to open up the channels of conversation and to be honest about the way you feel, whatever part of this discrepancy you hold. It's the opportunity for you to be open and honest about the way that you feel and to develop a connection with this person that is more compassionate, more loving, and really based on the ability to be open and to give and take love freely to and from each other. And so there is this opportunity for that. So regardless of what, I feel like time sometimes can heal wounds. And as long as you are standing your ground and holding your position and kind of implementing some sort of boundaries, I feel like that will allow the relationship to be built on a better foundation, because at least then you both are coming to the table with your expectations of one another. And so whatever traditional ways that you have dealt with the situation, or whatever ways that you have dealt with it in the past, it's the opportunity to develop a stronger foundation and a better mode of communication and connection with this person, no matter what is going on right now. Sometimes people say things in anger, and that shouldn't be a judgment. Because, sometimes we all say things out of anger. But again, if there is love and compassion for this person, and if this relationship is important to you, then, give it that opportunity to kind of like step into the space where you have this discussion with the person and where you're able to rebuild the relationship and the connection from an open, honest place with a lot of boundaries intact. I'm going to pull an advice card for you guys. The advice card today is coming from the Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck, and the card that came out for you guys is Eagle. See from a higher perspective. Look at things from a different angle, fly higher, and see new possibilities. In animal medicine, both Native American and Celtic, the eagle draws his power and strength from the sun. He is a powerful, strong, and courageous guide who is able to see for miles. He approaches all things with intelligence, grace, and poise, and has the capacity to make a plan from a higher space before putting it into action. When the eagle card appears in a reading, it shows that you have a real ability to take things higher and to move beyond the limitations of your ego and your selfish desires. Eagle medicine swirls around you, encouraging you to recognize that your views or vision may be limited at this time. Is there a chance that your own desperation, needs, or ego could be blocking you from seeing the potential in your current situation? If there are other people involved, you are being guided to see things from everyone's perspective. If you are feeling the need for something to change, how can you take the higher road? Know that if you have intentions that aren't for the highest good, it will only hold you back. Eagle medicine can help you change this. The eagle brings the energy of healing and love directly from the heart of Father Sky and invites you to do all things from a place of love. Okay, that was beautiful. So again, really kind of looking at the situation to kind of like see what role you played in this. Like I said, it depends on what part of this argument that you fall on, but really trying to look at things from a higher perspective, but also, like I said, instituting boundaries moving forward, you and this other person as well, so that you can kind of avoid falling into this same trap over and over and over again. Okay, and so that is the end of the reading. Thank you so much for being here. Like the video, share your thoughts and your comments down below, and also share the video with someone that you feel could benefit from the messages here today. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for post notifications, and I will see you soon.